Hey, glad to see you guys came to watch another awesome Noobert video. This time, I'll be covering Project Zomboid again, on the topic of zombie basics, behavior, and movement pattern guide. Project Zomboid is a pretty unforgiving game, where slight slip-ups can mean death. In particular, dealing with the hordes of zombies infesting the map can be tough. There's way too many of them to fight all at once, and you can't hide away safely forever either. Best to learn how they behave, attack, and move, so you can plan around it. In this video, I'm going to give y'all a brief overview of all those topics. It'll prove useful, just trust me. Before we begin, don't forget to drop this video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. Done? Good, let's begin. First up, let's talk about how the game spawns zombies. It may be a bit too technical for you, but the mechanics are still pretty important to understand in order to figure out how many you'll face at once. Notably, there are two classes of zombies, real zombies and virtual zombies. Real zombies are the ones you can see on screen shambling towards you and trying to attack. Virtual zombies are zombies that only exist as data and have not yet been spawned as hostile entities. The way it works is that zombies only spawn within 9 cells on the map grid at any given time. This means the cell your character is on at the center and the space of 8 cells surrounding it. It's a measure designed to keep graphics and processing performance as light as possible. Since there are hundreds of zombies roaming about the map, too many on screen simultaneously and the game might crash. Zombies outside this radius are virtual zombies, and information such as their loot and health is stored as data despite not existing. These zombies can still be affected by migration and meta events like the helicopter, screams, and distant gunshots. When virtual zombies enter the 9-cell radius, they become real zombies and can interact with destructible objects, fire, or traps, or you. Think of it this way. There's a maximum amount of zombies that can exist within a given radius, and if those aren't killed, no more will spawn. This means you can devise traps for them to slowly thin the horde and ensure spawns are slow. We've learned how zombies spawn, now let's talk about where they typically spawn, as well as migration patterns, so you can be prepared to fight or run when necessary. No, I don't mean migration like taking flights to other countries and stuff. I'm talking about zombies roaming to different parts of the map. The plane to Muldrow West will be boarding soon. Please ensure you have your passport and all personal belongings. When you start a new game in Project Zomboid, zombies will usually be heavily congregated in the west side of Muldrow, thinning out from there throughout the town. This will eventually change as the metagame works to spread zombies around via events. East Muldrow is less populated than west, and the outskirts of town are even quieter. You'll notice that near buildings like farms and lumber mills, only small pockets of zombies will spawn naturally. Since that's the case, the wilderness around Muldrow is pretty much a safe zone. From zombies, they don't spawn there and rarely move in either. The downside is that there are way less supplies and housing options, so you gotta be a rugged survivalist and learn how to fend for yourself out there, including learning how to hunt, forage, and grow your own food. Learning about how zombies move and act in this game is vital, as you're gonna be facing them a lot. Whether you run or fight, you should be aware of the best actions to take against these brain-eating freaks. Most zombies you encounter will be the slow, shambling type from classic horror movies. No running zombies here, like those in 28 Days Later or Train to Busan, fortunately. Having said that, there are faster zombies. Newly infected zombies tend to move faster at nearly the same walking speed as your living character. Still, the zombies in this game are pretty easy to maneuver around if you spot any. The only problem comes when faced with a huge horde surrounding you. Phew, I made it out alive. Okay, since we're taking a break, I'll use this opportunity to remind you guys, if you like the video so far, don't forget to drop a like on it and subscribe to my channel. You'll get loads of more cool content for Project Zomboid as well as other games, like Rimworld and Stellaris. It's definitely worth it. Just click those buttons and we'll be on our way. If you want to support me, you should also subscribe to my Patreon for even more exclusive content like access to the Patreon feed, Discord rules, special credits, and even this mug. Shout out to my list of loyal Patreon subscribers for their continuous support. I greatly appreciate it, and I wouldn't be able to get this far without you guys. I love you all. Now let's get back to the video. A majority of zombies you encounter will be shambling or walking quickly towards you. There's another type of less common movement you might see from them though, and that's crawling. As the name implies, crawling zombies are, well, crawling. They can either spawn naturally or as a result of your actions. Naturally, crawling zombies are usually found turned upside down on their stomach or their back. Like regular zombies, they'll seek survivors out following the same stimuli and behavior. Zombies can also start crawling if knocked down in combat. Most of the time they get back up before attacking, but some may remain in that crawling state and attack you regardless. Apart from that, one thing to take note of when dealing with crawlers is that they can play dead. Sometimes you might stumble on a dead zombie just lying there and awesome, oh it's extra dead, no big deal. Then that thing gets up and eats you. Oops. Yeah, that's a tactic crawling zombies can pull. Beware. You can usually test if they're probably dead or pretending by making noise. Getting closer works too if you're fine with the risk. Crawling zombies move really slowly compared to regular zombies at about a fifth of their speed. This means they tend to trail behind the main horde. It may seem like a disadvantage, but the slow movement means it's really quiet except for the occasional moan and noise it makes when bumping into stuff. The worst part is this type of zombie can be hidden by tall objects like crops and grass when exploring. Be aware of potential crawlers. Zombies aren't the smartest creatures around, but they'll still behave accordingly to a certain logic, especially when it comes to stimuli. Primarily, zombies are attached to noise. Bright lights, for example, flashes and fires, and the sight of humans. But what happens when all these things are present at once? Like us, when we are deciding whether to snack before dinner, their pathfinding also operates on a priority system. The sight of human flesh is obviously at number 1, regardless of whether it's you or an NPC. After that, it'll be noise and light. It doesn't matter whether those are man-made or natural, they'll still attract zombies. This means stuff like helicopters flying overhead, you firing a gun, or even lighting a fire might summon the horde. Pretty risky, but sometimes there's no choice. The upside is that you can also use these tactics to lure them into a trap or away from your position. Occasionally, zombie hordes will also wander a short distance without any provocation at all. Instead of standing idly by, they start roaming and break any windows and doors in the way. During the rain, these hordes will wander even more, so be prepared. Next, let's talk about zombie combat. This is an important section, mind you. Not that the others aren't important, but combat in Project Zomboid can be pretty risky if you don't know how it works, that is. So pay attention, it might save your life. Zombies can only fight by getting close to your character and attacking using their arms. Since that's the case, staying out of melee range with a long weapon, knocking them back, or using a gun is a good option, though not always practical. Sometimes you gotta wade into the fray. As for damage, there are 3 types of damage inflicted by zombies: bites, scratches, and punches. Bites are the rarest, but are guaranteed to infect you. Avoid at all costs. Obviously, getting a festering bite is a big deal. They can be treated, but not without significant risk and resources. Scratches are a zombie's most common attack. These are used frequently, but only have a 25% chance to infect you. That doesn't mean they're not dangerous though. Even if they don't infect you, zombies can still kill you the old-fashioned way. The third damage type is punches. It is the least threatening. Unlike bites and scratches, punches do not create wounds and thus cannot cause infection. This means you don't need bandages or first aid for injuries inflicted by punches. Just some time to heal and minor pain that can be dealt with by painkillers. If your character has a thick skin perk, you can lower the chance of receiving a bite or a scratch. Downgrading some zombie attacks into punches, pretty handy perk to have if you're gonna be settling in an area with loads of zombies. Note that when attacking, a zombie will grab you and hinder your movements. It's possible to shake off up to a few zombies, but if they're swarming you in large numbers, you'll be stuck, unable to move. If that happens, well, guess you're zombie food. Whenever possible, try not to get grabbed at all. It's not worth the risk. I give up, for now at least. Let's rest for a bit. Since you're here, why not drop a comment below, whether it's feedback or questions, or even just stopping by the chat. Everyone is welcome. Don't be shy. Please, say hi. Remember though, now back to the video. I talked about how crawlers can be pretty dangerous, right? Let's see how to deal with them. Note that while regular zombies can be knocked back to keep them away, crawlers are immune to this maneuver. It's pretty risky to fight crawlers head on with melee weapons, as there's a high risk of you getting bitten. Since that's the case, you gotta exploit their weaknesses. Crawlers tend to have trouble turning around and need to push their entire body 180 degrees to do so. Since that's the case, you can run in circles around them by walking behind a crawler and attacking attacking it. This will ideally finish it off, but if it doesn't, rinse and repeat if possible. As I mentioned earlier, zombies can interact with objects, usually by breaking them. I mean, zombies aren't exactly known for their skilled handling of items. This is usually done when chasing down that sweet, sweet human flesh. When roaming, whether aimlessly or in pursuit of a target standing, zombies will attack any doors, player-made walls, and fences in the way. A single zombie won't deal much damage with each attack except to unbarricaded windows, but if you leave it alone long enough, or its friends show up, the obstacle will eventually fall. An added risk is that zombies banging on doors can attract other zombies, which will also begin attacking nearby barriers. It's not all doom and gloom, of course. There's a chance the zombies will just leave after a while, if you, or NPC survivors, remain absolutely silent and out of sight long enough. Not exactly the most reliable method, since the chance is really low the zombies are more likely to just bust your door down. When they're banging on your barricades, I recommend fighting them off as soon as possible, so they don't get the chance to attract more zombies, unless you're incapable of that, in which case, run. No biggie, they'll go away after a while if I just stay silent. Seriously? I guess I gotta deal with them. Lastly, I'm going to cover the topic of zombies and noise. Not how they react to noise, which was already mentioned earlier, but how to know a zombie is coming based on the noise they make. Unlike your own character, footsteps, zombie footsteps are pretty quiet, so you won't be able to rely on that to know one is nearby. It's important to keep your guard up and look around constantly when you're exploring an area. Fortunately, they're pretty noisy in other ways. Zombies help moaning involuntarily, which will probably alert you to their presence. They're also pretty careless when moving and will perform noisy actions like brushing against trees or thumping on doors and windows like I stated before. Well, that's about it for your class on zombie behavior. I hope this video has been educational for you in knowing how to deal with those pesky zombies. Even so, if you do die to them, it's not the end of the world. Losing is still a good learning experience. Again, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like it and subscribe to my channel. I'd appreciate it a lot. Thank you everybody that has helped support this channel. Credit roll for the Patreons and everybody that helped work on this video. Noobert out.